Hi, welcome to another video. Today we're going to look at my handheld CBs that I have purchased over the past few months, and we're going to hook them up to my antenna and my meter and see what kind of power we get from them. So let's do a quick overview of the handheld CBs we're going to test. And the first one here is the GE5920, which is a 4-watt, 40-channel CB. It was part of what was called a help CB, and what you would do is carry this in your car, and if you broke down, you could plug the antenna, a magnetic antenna, into it, mount it on top of your car, and plug in to the cigarette lighter for power. It wouldn't take batteries, so hopefully if you broke down, your battery wasn't dead, otherwise you were going to be out of luck here. And it's kind of funny if you look at the original packaging on here. I love how they show a nicely dressed woman broken down, doesn't know what to do, but she does know how. She can't fix a car, but she does know how to plug in a CB antenna and call for help. So let's look at our next CB. Our next CB is the GE5979C CB. They made two models of this. They had when it was first introduced, they had an A version, which was a 3-watt handheld CB. When this came out in 1992, the C model, it was a full 4 watts, 40-channel CB. You have LED readout. It takes 8 AA batteries. You have a spot for an external antenna and power supply. And if we look at the packaging on this one versus the other one, you could tell this one was geared toward the rugged outdoor man. Here we have your typical macho man of the time period with his CB and shotgun out hunting, versus the one we had for the other one, the help CB, which was geared towards helpless women. So obviously this guy, if he broke down, he wouldn't need a CB. He would probably know how to repair it. And I just find it amusing how they advertise the products of that time. If you look at one from the early 80s, another CB they had, they have a guy out in the storm on a snowmobile with a little snowmobile patch on it. It's just funny how they advertise these. So let's go on to the next, a quick overview of the next model. Here we have the 5980, which came out in 1996. And this was the next model after the 5979C. As you can tell, this one's a little more compact. It has a jack over here for, like the other one did, for external antenna and a power supply. This one also took 8C battery, or 8 AA batteries. And this one came with a rubber ducky antenna, whereas the other one, the 5979, had a 57-inch telescopic antenna. Here we have the Cobra HH35CB, handheld CB, which is also 4 watts of power. This one came out in 1993. And this one, I like the antenna that came on this for replacement purposes. This is a B and C connection, which you can still buy today. The older GE models were the antennas that came with those only fit those particular models, and you really can't find those anymore unless probably you go on eBay. And anyway, on the Cobra here, I don't like this one as much as the GE's. The speaker sounds a lot cheaper. It's not as clear or deep. But it's still a nice little handheld CB. And if you look at the advertising on this one, it's funny, just like the GE's. Here you have a picture of 3 men out in a canoe fishing. Why they would need a CB, I'm not really sure. Maybe if they broke down, but looks like they might be rowing, so I don't know. Maybe if they dropped an oar or something, they're going to need help. So anyway, let's go over and we're going to test the CBs and see what kind of power we get. Okay, we're over here to the antenna where I have my antenna connection. And let's go ahead and check everything, check all the CBs and see what kind of power we get. I have it set to channel 1, which is where I have my lowest SWR reading. So let's go ahead and let's start with my little Pro 510XL and see what we get. So let's dead key the mic here. And it looks like we're getting about 5 watts. Okay, let's go over to let's bring the 5920 over and see what kind of readings we get with that. All right, we have the 5920 Help handheld CB hooked up. And let's key the mic and see what kind of power we get. Almost right on 8 watts. Okay, on to the next one. Here we are with the GE5979C, the Hunter's Choice for old CBs. And let's see what kind of reading we get here. A little over 7. We'll call it about 7.2. That should make our hunter happy. And let's go on to the next one. Next up, we have the Cobra HH35. Let's go ahead and key the mic and see what we get here. Right around 8 watts for the Cobra. And now for our last radio, the GE5980. So let's go ahead and key the mic. Looks like we get around 6 watts. I didn't show this on the video, but I had the rubber ducky antenna hooked up to it. And when I keyed the mic, I only had a reading of around 4. When I take the rubber ducky off, I get a reading of almost 2 more watts. Not quite sure why that's happening. I assumed when you plugged in the external antenna that it would disconnect the rubber ducky, but I guess it doesn't. Here's our test results in a spreadsheet I created. And looks like the one with the least power was the newest unit, the Unit in Pro. And the ones that had the most power were the oldest CB. So I found that kind of interesting. So there you have it. There was a quick review and power test of the various handheld CBs that I have picked up. So take your pick there. If you're going to break down in a car, maybe go hunting with a shotgun or go out in a canoe with your buddies. You have a pretty good choice of CBs to choose from here. In my next video, I'm going to build a homemade dipole antenna, which should be pretty interesting. And then perhaps after that, I might take all of these out and do a field test and see how far out I can reach my home base. So until then, keep watching and feel free to leave comments. Thanks.